Welcome everyone to episode not two, three of Hackathon Heroes, a show where I interview people who have had success at hackathons, however you want to define that, hoping that we can learn some tips, strategies, ideas, concepts to help you in your next hackathon in the web3 hackathon world that happens seemingly every day. There's a new hackathon. And today I'm joined by Mattia, and Mattia has an
Hey
uh,
everyone.
yeah, a great honor of because when you start these shows, Mattia, like sometimes you get nervous, like, oh, am I gonna find people to like do the interview or the content? But you're the first guest to be referred to by Lamone.
Okay,
Actually, he was episode one, so
okay.
small
Thank you
cycle,
for
but
that.
yeah. But he said you'd be the perfect person to interview for this show. So here we are. Welcome, Mattia. How are you doing?
Hey Dan, thank you. I'm doing great. Yeah, thanks for inviting me. I always like to talk about hackathons, something that I obviously really love. So yeah, excited for this.
Nice, awesome. Well, we'll get started. So normally we like to start with just some general hackathon thoughts, and I like to get, I started in the intro. There's tons of hackathons out there now. At least what I'm realizing, every week it seems like there's maybe two or three going on at once. So
Yeah,
what I like to ask guests first is like, how do they decide where to build or which hackathons to hack at? Whether
okay.
it's like bounties or the
Okay.
projects or the protocols. Like what
Yeah.
gets Mattia excited about a hackathon?
Yeah. All right. So okay, I have to say that this year I've been a lot more chill than last year. Like last year, 2023, I was
Yeah.
basically going to almost every hackathon that I
Okay.
because I was really into it. I wasn't like too sure about what I wanted to do, so it was just like, building, going to a bunch of places and building a bunch of projects just to figure out things. So last
Yeah.
year the requirements were like lower, I guess, because I didn't want
Do you call yourself a hackathon? I'm there. Perfect.
yeah. It was almost no requirements, but like, well, generally, oh, so first of all, I only do in-person hackathons. There are also online hackathons, obviously, but I don't know, those are not that fun to me. So yeah, that's like number one criteria. Then I don't know, it really depends on I think a combination of the city, maybe. Like, if I want to go to that city, then like might as well go for a hackathon, and then I have an excuse to also just stay there. And
Yeah.
then mostly like if I know a lot of people that are going, because in the end, like it's also one of the things I love about hackathon is that you just kind of find everyone that is building in the space, and it's like a bunch of nomads that keep going to all the conferences and hackathons, so you see each other very often. So if I have friends that are going to something, I'm definitely going. And yeah, I guess last criteria is obviously sponsors and prices, I would say, but more like in my case, it's more the sponsors. I think like when something is when the sponsors are interesting, I'm more excited to go because I know I'm gonna come up with something cool. Personally, I love hackathons that have a team. I don't know, like only privacy hackathon or ZK hackathon.
Yeah.
I like them more than like general hackathons where you can build whatever you want, because usually you come up with like I don't know, more interesting ideas in my experience, and like you learn more like about something specific. So those are the ones that I try to not miss basically.
Nice. Nice. I want to touch on it because you said you only like the in-person hackathons, and for me, I've been like participating in online hackathons, but if I look at my completion rate or submission rate from online versus in
Uh-huh.
person, obviously in person is like 100%, and online is definitely not 100%. I'll leave it at that. But yeah, I'm curious. What have you tried online hackathons? What is it just hard committing, or like what?
No,
Why
so
did you choose on in person only?
to be honest, I've only tried them like few like maybe a couple years ago. It wasn't even like Web3 stuff. But generally like so I might change my opinion if I try again. Like but generally like well first the vibes in a in-person event obviously are like so cool because you get to talk with like a lot of people. But then I don't know, I kind of like the concept of like coming up with something in a weekend, build it over the weekend and ship it faster. Rather than online hackathons are usually like a few weeks long, so it's like kind of like it takes more of your time. Although obviously you're not like working like full time on that maybe, but I don't know. It's like is it too long for me to focus for that long because I'm obviously like I'm also doing other stuff other than hackathons. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like you know, uh, just the weekend, just put all my effort into that and get it done, rather than like have a longer period basically, where I have to split my focus.
Cool, cool. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a big part of it. I remember Nader David, he had like a tweet. It was like, oh, if you want to like recreate the hackathon experience at home, and it was like some. I'll have to put it up here when I find it. But it was like smash your router because like hackathons are notoriously have bad internet, and like create all these like weird scenarios to like get that same vibe at home. But
Yeah,
obviously, there's the positive vibes that people go for than the bad
yeah.
internet and bad seating and stuff like that.
Exactly. That's true. That's true. The bad internet, honestly, is like it's always there, So you gotta deal with it. That's one downside of in-person hackathons. But hey, the rest makes it worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, so we got you there. We're at a incredible city. Obviously, it's in person, and all your friends are there as well. Because I think those are all the criterias. Like, how do you actually get deciding on what to build, though? I mean, like, I think especially if people starting out, they see all these bounties, and maybe the money gets to them, and they see like, oh, I need to like bounty stack or whatever, and like build everything
Yeah,
on everything. But like, how do
yeah.
you then decide on what to limit yourself and like actual project that you're gonna start building on?
Yeah, yeah. So to be honest, I don't really have like a framework that I use. It depends on hackathon to hackathon. So sometimes I already had an idea because I don't know, just by like exploring and building stuff, I realized that something was missing, or I really wanted to do this thing because it seemed cool. So I just go to the hackathon and like try to build that. So sometimes it went that way. Sometimes it was more brainstorming, like for the hackathon itself. In that case, what I try to do is make a combination of what is interesting to me at the moment, what are like the technologies that are more interesting to me, then find what of those are between the sponsors. So maybe some sponsors are like not really interesting, so I don't really want to build on their technology because it's not what I want to do right now.
Yeah.
And I try to basically find combinations between sponsors that are like non-obvious, maybe like I don't know, there is like sponsor number A that does XYZ, sponsor number B that does something completely different, but maybe if you put them together, then you come up with some sort of new use case that it didn't exist,
Yeah.
and that's cool. Also because like usually like the sponsors or dev tool companies in general like integrations. So like if you build something that works together with like another tool, they usually like that. So yeah, I think it's a lot about that. Like what's hot maybe at the moment is also another criteria. Like I don't know when there is like a new trend in the ecosystem, that's always cool to explore it for me. So
For
I try
sure.
to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I like this idea of integrations. That's definitely something I also tried to do. But what's annoying, and maybe you could help Mia and help everyone else. But like a lot of times, right? I get like we're building an interoperable web, and we're supposed to all these things should connect, but they don't. Whether it's like we don't support that network or whatnot. So they get to building, and then like at that critical moment of making the connection or
Yeah.
integration, like I go to the team and like, oh yeah, we don't support that network, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah, I'm
But
sorry, but I don't have a solution for
yeah,
that. No,
read the
like,
docs, I guess, like clearly and thoroughly, or like maybe even plan
yeah,
out that, like talk to the teams for
yeah.
sure. I'm curious. Then you talk about some of like the you want maybe build on some of the new or like the hot stuff in town in terms of like the tech. Do you always like use technologies that you've done before or used before, or do you kind of use hackathons as a way to work with new protocols, new frameworks, things like that?
Yeah, I usually try to have at least something new, like at least some new technology that I haven't used just to learn. That's I think my goal. At least one thing. Obviously, even jumping into like so much stuff that you've never done is also a bit risky, but because you're gonna obviously probably move slower. But yeah, I think like at least learning something, at least getting out of the hackathon, you said, okay, I learned this one new thing. It's
Yeah, yeah.
important for me. I don't know, it's cool. So yeah, I just try to pick at least one sponsor maybe that I've never used and like in some way that I don't fully understand, so that I can like then have some new skills that to bring home after the weekend.
Got it. No, that's good. And I mean, to the point of like moving fast. This is episode 3, so this is small sample size of interviews so far. But one of the things is like people learning how to, one, be productive at a hackathon, and then also like the basic necessities of eating, showering, sleeping. So I'd love to know how you sort of manage like that, whether you have like a regular schedule or just like to go with the vibes and then make sure
Yeah,
everything is taken care of at the end.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so, well, obviously, like being productive in a hackathon depends on like how productive you are as a developer in general. But I feel like there are a few things that you can optimize for like in a hackathon. So, I mean, obviously building with technologies that you know, but as we said, is not always the goal. Like maybe you want to learn something new. That's like super okay. I think the other two things can be like um, I think it comes down a lot to people. Like it's really like about your team, because
Yeah.
like yes, you can be productive alone, but like if you're not productive as a team, that's not good. So it really down comes down to building with people that you kind of have a good flow, good chemistry. Like you go faster and don't spend too much time in kind of like making decisions, deciding who does what. That's like I feel like the biggest limiting factor, like when you're just stuck in decision making or like just taking too long to like move on, pick the technologies, pick the idea. You want people to like move fast. Yeah, that's hard. That obviously is like it's not, you say, easier said than done. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, that's what I aim for. Like and usually that works with like if you already work together maybe in a previous hackathon. uh, and yeah, also keeping the scope of your idea not too big, because
Yeah.
yes, productive, but like in the end, even if you're like a like a crack dev, you can't build the word in like in a weekend. So also like choosing something that is reasonable, right?
That should be like the quote of all hackathons at the beginning. Say, "You can't build a world in a weekend," like, and
Yeah,
welcome to the hackathon. Because I think
yeah,
people definitely, especially when you're starting out, you want you to, maybe even if you're like new, you definitely want to you aim for the most ambitious thing possible because you want to guarantee that you come out with something, right? Something cool. But yeah, it never happens that way. Cool.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll transition to this project. So another thing we'll talk about now is a specific project, and you have shared with me the repo, which I will show on the screen now, and also sharing the link. But I'm gonna butcher this name. Is it become a mos, or how do you say the project name first and foremost?
Yeah, good question. Is beccamos,
Oh
and
wow. Hmm.
basically that means let's meet in like in Roman slang, like is Italian, but specifically like the way they would say it in Rome,
Okay, got it.
and
This
that's
is an
because
international show now. I like it.
yeah, yeah. I mean that's because well, I'm Italian, but also it was built in Adit Rome, this
Ah,
project.
nice.
So yeah, we chose like a funny title for that.
Great tip, everyone. In whatever country you're operating or you're hacking in, you should name your app in that language or that slang. I think that could catch on as a good
Oh
tip.
my God, yeah, yeah, that's crazy. Like I remember, it always happens. Like I remember, I think yeah, in Paris, things like croissant protocol, baguette link,
Yeah, yeah,
always
yeah.
that
God,
stuff.
classic. All right. Well, I have the Vercel app open. I haven't used it because the first thing it asked me to do is to share my location, and I'm not going to do that immediately on a random Vercel app. So tell us what this is and how it works.
Oh yeah, oh damn. Hopefully, I hope it still works. To be honest, on the
Well, I
Versa
don't know.
app.
Yeah, but you can tell us how it once worked at least.
But yeah, so the idea of the canvas is basically to uh, have a way to share location with friends or people in a private way and like decentralized way. So instead of like using WhatsApp or Telegram, where you basically like goes through WhatsApp servers or your
Hmm.
location data, as this is like peer to peer. So we use the Waku, that is basically like a peer-to-peer messaging protocol. So allows just like different nodes in a network to exchange some sort of data. We used Waku protocol basically to exchange geolocation between two addresses. So the idea here is like I have my Ethereum address. I know my friends with their Ethereum address. I don't need to have like their WhatsApp, their phone number, or their
Yeah.
Telegram or whatever application. I just get their Ethereum address and we can start sharing location, and we only can see that location because it's encrypted with like our private keys. So yeah, like we basically all the location data is gonna be like we can only read it, and like no one else can read it, even though it goes through this network of peers that is called Waco, basically. Yeah.
Oh, got it. Okay. And I saw that you use Scaffold ETH too. At least it's on the repo that. So shout out
Yeah.
to the Bill Gildle for
Yeah.
making that great resource. And
Yeah.
I'm curious. Do you normally use kind of the Scaffold or like I guess starter kits or boilerplate to build your projects?
Yeah, I have like a personal like template boilerplate basically that I made, and I usually use that one. But yeah, in this case, Scaffolded, was one of the sponsors, so we use that as well. But it was actually also good to learn it because it was pretty cool. There are some things that I really like about it.
Yeah, gotcha. And this is like a spicy question because I know that it's a yes or a no. But
Yeah.
after the hackathon, have you built anything on become a Mose after the project? Uh,
Spicy question. No, no,
no,
honestly, no. Yeah.
you're supposed to say yes. This is why hackathons exist. No, yeah, most people don't. But
Yeah. We had some ideas, like as always, like you say, yeah, we want to keep going, blah blah blah. In this case, it didn't really happen. Uh, it wasn't even like designed to happen. Like we weren't like going with that intent, to be honest. We just like wanted, to have fun and build stuff. So even though we really liked the project, it wasn't like I don't know, it wasn't our feat to keep working on it in the end.
yeah,
So it just kind of died there. As unfortunately, it's a pretty sad
no
thing about
shame
Hack.
here. This is a shame-free zone.
Yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
against it.
Like a
I, I'm
bunch of cool stuff, then like just being abandoned. But it is what it
yeah.
is.
I'm curious then, like, if we take this idea then, like, how did you actually come about of that? Maybe people think, especially sharing, for me, I share my location all the time. I don't really think about where it's going in terms of that, but I think it's probably a
Yeah.
good use case. But like, how do you think this is a problem that you wanted to build around?
How did I get the idea? Honestly, it's it's hard to remember. I think actually this was not one of the ideas that I came up brainstorming before the hackathon, but it came to my mind actually at the hackathon before. It's fun. It's
Oh,
like
nice.
after, yeah, the hackathon I went before it Rome was it Warsaw, and I think I was thinking with someone about like peer-to-peer, decentralized networks and stuff like that. And probably I saw like maybe like a project doing something similar with like another use case that was not geolocation. And then like I don't know, suddenly it came to my mind, oh shit, like geolocation is actually something that like is pretty, private, something that people would like to keep private. I don't
Yeah,
know
for
if
sure. I mean, I'm not even sharing it with your app because I don't even trust your app. So.
exactly. So yeah, then I got the idea, and like it was a perfect fit because Waku is basically like what enables you to power that, and like that was one of the sponsors, so it kind of was a good match. So yeah, it was kind of like I don't know, an aha moment that, and then I really liked it and decided to build it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay, I'll give you another one. Maybe this is a more friendly one. But if you had one extra day at the hackathon to build on this, what would be? Is it like a new feature or something that you would add or maybe could finish up that you weren't able to do in this project?
Yeah, so there were a few things. So, well, fixing some bugs, obviously, because
We don't talk about the bugs. There's no bugs here.
every hackathon project as good as some bugs at the end. But no, so what we wanted to do is basically to build it more like as an SDK. So the way we built it is like an application that you can go on the council.vercel.app and like use it from there, but it's kind of limited to this single website. So what we wanted to do is more like build it in a way where you can just import it into any web3 app that needs geolocation and use it. So I don't know. I'm imagining like the centralized, marketplaces or like, you know, maybe chat applications where you want to show the location in chat. So yeah, we thought there were maybe other use cases that were cool to use instead of just like a pure geolocation sharing for friends. So yeah, we wanted to basically be like an SDK that in like few lines of code you have like encrypted geolocation sharing working. Yeah.
Very nice. Cool. Well, we'll end it. I always end these interviews with one thing. If you could give like, not like a piece of advice, but like even just like a quote or a philosophy of finding success at hackathons to the audience or to anyone, new and old to
Okay.
hackathons, what would it be? What's like the idea that you would present?
Oh, okay. One quote. Um, Damn, only one is hard. Honestly, I think it's about finding your people. I think in the end is really about it. Is about finding people that you really work well together and they have a lot of fun. And I think
Yeah.
that's like the main driver for everything else. And just wanting to learn a lot. I think it's about that. Like if you get together like a few people that really all want to learn something, like all the rest will kind of come. And so I guess that's my advice. Advice maybe like more practical, like how do I apply it? I think is have a great demo because I think like people really not some people like really like undervalue the demo, but the demo is actually so important because if you build like the coolest thing, but then when the way you present it sucks,
Yeah.
in people's mind it will suck. You know, is a little bit sad, but that's how it works.
It's the
So
world. That's how the world works. So
doesn't nail the
definitely.
demo. Make sure it's really good. And also, my philosophy is like no slides. Like, don't like start talking about total addressable market, like business model,
Uh,
and else. Just like show how it works. Like just show how it works because when you show people that something even simple but like works so smoothly, like with a great UX, they'll be surprised. They said, okay, they actually made in a weekend something that can be used tomorrow. So that maybe that's my quote. Do something that you can use tomorrow and get value from it.
nice. That's a great quote. That's a great quote to end it. So what's the next? You said you're gonna keep it chill this year, but what's the next hackathon for you?
The next one is gonna be to Global Brussels, so
Oh,
like in a
nice.
month and something. So yeah, I'm excited because actually it's been a few months that I haven't done anything. So I'm excited to go and meet all the friends that I haven't seen in a while.
Well,
Are
as
you
I
gonna be
say,
there?
hackathons are like, yeah, I will be there.
Listen.
So we'll definitely meet up. And like they said, though, hackathons are like riding a bike. So I'm sure you still got it from taking a break from hackathons. But we wish you the best of luck at ETH Brussels, and we'll see you there too.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Perfect.